MARTA is Atlanta's metro system. First opening in 1981, the system has 38 stations on 48 miles of track across 4 lines. The system sees an annual ridership of 31 million people. The system also serves as an anchor for the bus system, spreading the reach of transit further afield. Despite being a small system, MARTA has quite a few secrets if you know where to look. Join me as we explore MARTA Rail, seeing the secrets it has to offer. Before we begin our tour, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content like this. Our first stop is at MARTA's South Yard near the airport. This is one of 3 train storage yards on the system, the other 2 being Avondale Yard in Avondale and Armour Yard near Lindbergh Center Station. At South Yard, you can find St. Louis Metrolink SG400 number 1028 with its Metrolink branding and HVAC units stripped. The car was built by Siemens in the early 1990s and served with Metrolink since then. I have heard that it was retired after being damaged beyond repair and flash floods in 2022, but I have no sources to verify whether this is true or not. The car has been in South Yard since sometime in 2022 or 2023 and is still there as of the making of this video. I've seen that the car is planned to be used as a demonstrator for the Atlanta Streetcar's East Side extension, but I once again have no sources to verify this. To see the car in person, take MARTA to the airport and transfer to the ATL SkyTrain. Be sure to look out the left window in the direction of travel to catch a glimpse of the yard and the SG400 inside. Exit at the Gateway Center Hotel station and walk southwest on SkyTrain Way. Turn left on Leslie Drive and cross Roosevelt Highway at the traffic light. Continue across the train tracks and South Yard will be right in front of you after you cross East Main Street. Our next stop is College Park Station, the last stop before the airport on the red and gold lines. At the south end of the platform, you'll see 2 tracks split off from the main tracks in the center, then rise up over the southbound track. These tracks lead to South Yard. Additionally, just north of Airport Station, a track branches off to the west. This track also leads to South Yard. The 2 sets of track and the mainline tracks form a Y, which is a triangular arrangement of track that allows trains to be turned around without a massive loop track, also known as a balloon loop. Since MARTA trains are dual-ended, I'm not sure this Y is actually used as a Y very often, if at all. Additionally, this is the only Y on the MARTA system. Did you know that MARTA stations have their own unique code? Before MARTA started their most recent round of station signage updates, every station had a code listed along with the station name on platform signs. These codes were even used on old system maps. The codes are alphanumeric, with the letter indicating the line and the number indicating the number of stations from 5 points, the center of the system. 5 points has the code 0. Stations north of 5 points have N for north, followed by a number, except for Lenox through Dorville, which have NE for northeast. Stations to the west of 5 points have W for west, except for Bankhead, which has P for Proctor Creek. More on that in a bit. The same pattern holds true for stations to the east and south of 5 points. The numbers are sequential, starting from 1 for the first station outside 5 points. When a line splits into branches at Lindbergh Center and Ashby, both branches start numbering from the number of the junction station. Lindbergh Center has the code N6, so Buckhead has the code N7, and Lenox has the code NE7. Similarly, Ashby has the code W3, so Westlake has the code W4, and Bankhead has the code P4. For this next secret, we need to travel all the way to Seattle, Washington. Currently, Seattle has a light rail system called Link. However, in 1968, as part of a series of ballot measures called the Forward Thrust, Seattle and King County voters had the opportunity to approve local bonds to help fund a 49-mile subway system. Additionally, Senator Warren Magnuson managed to secure $900 million in federal funds, but only if the local bond measure passed. To put that into perspective, $900 million is $8.162 billion in 2025 money. Unfortunately for Seattle and King County voters struck down this ballot measure and did so again when it was put on the ballot in 1970. When the ballot failed the second time, the federal funds went up for grabs and Atlanta managed to snag them, leading to the creation of the MARTA rail system. This means that Atlanta got Seattle's rail system. Now, we return to Atlanta for what is less of a secret and more of an overlooked detail about a station, Peachtree Center Station. If you stand on the platform and look up, you will notice that what appears to be exposed rock along the walls and part of the ceiling. This is in fact the gneiss rock that forms the bedrock of the area. The rock is strong enough to support the weight of the station box, so it was left exposed, with steel being used for the part of the ceiling. Staying at Peachtree Center, we next turn to the escalators. It's no secret that they are long, with the longest bank, the one on the Carnegie Way or southwest exit, being 190 feet long. The semi-secret is that they are among the longest escalators in the southeast United States, with MARTA claiming them as the longest. We have yet another secret at Peachtree Center, this time at street level. Also at the Carnegie Way entrance, you can see two slabs in a small fenced-off area next to the head house. These slabs were once part of a building known as the house that Jack built. The building was built by Jasper Newton Jack Smith in 1889 as a commercial building. The building was built out of granite blocks and adorned with marble slabs that had various quotes and sayings on them. A stipulation of the lease of the land was that the plaques had to remain visible, meaning that when MARTA had to demolish the building to build Peachtree Center Station, they had to save some of the plaques, hence the two plaques in the fenced-off area. We now travel to Georgia State Station on the blue and green lines. If you board a westbound train and look out the left window in the direction of travel, you will see a third track split off in the middle, then dive down into the left or south. If you ride a northbound train out of Garnett, you will similarly see a third track form in the middle, then rise up. Both of these tracks are one and the same, and this track is the transfer track used to move trains between the east-west, green and blue, and north-south, red and gold lines. This track is so unknown that it isn't even featured on Open Railway Map, which is usually very good about showing non-revenue tracks such as this one. Additionally, at Garnett, you will see the transfer track dive down under the platform. I believe, although I have no confirmation, that this is a storage track. The next secret is one that is out in the open if you know where to look, similar to the Guinness rock walls at Peachtree Center. At 5 points, if you stand on the mezzanine level and look out over the north end of the red and gold line platforms, you'll see something peculiar on the wall. It looks as if the building was built directly into the station. This is the facade of the Eisman Building, one of the buildings that was demolished to make way for the station. It originally stood just south of where the station is today. Instead of demolishing the facade, MARTA disassembled it and stored it in a warehouse, only to install it at 5 points later. At 5 points, the blue and green line platforms are actually at ground level. This is because in the 1920s, a large portion of the streets in the area were raised 1.5 stories onto viaducts to eliminate grade crossings with the many railroads that ran and still run through the area. This also created what we now know as underground Atlanta. The fact that the blue and green line platforms are at ground level is very apparent when riding a train between 5 Points and Georgia State stations. Looking out the windows, you can see that you are riding along at ground level, with the streets being on viaducts above. If you ride a westbound train between Kensington and Avondale, look out the right window in the direction of travel, and you will see part of Avondale Yard, which the tracks fly over. Inside the yard, you can find at least 2 diesel locomotives, one of which looks identical to the New York City Subway's R77 General Electric Model SL50 locomotives, and one of which looks like a European dual-ended switcher. I couldn't find any information about these locomotives, and it is interesting that they even exist, as I wouldn't expect a system as small as MARTA to have need for diesel work locomotives. Typically, you only see battery electric or diesel work locomotives on large systems like the New York City Subway, London Underground, and Chicago L. Typically, a smaller system will use high rails or trucks that also have steel wheels to run on train tracks. Additionally, you can see several other work vehicles in the yard. While editing this video, I noticed on Google Earth and in my footage that there is a third locomotive in Avondale Yard. This one looks like a GE 45-ton or 50-ton switcher, similar to SRM-3, the locomotive used on the historic train at the Southeastern Railway Museum. In order to see this next secret, you either need to go to Kingston, New York, or Duluth, Georgia, as we are now entering the world of preserved rail cars. If you go to the Southeastern Railway Museum or the Trolley Museum of New York, you can see preserved MARTA cars 509 and 510, respectively. That alone is sort of a secret, as it hasn't been heavily publicized that these cars were preserved. However, the cars are part of a larger secret, and that is the fact that MARTA used to have single cars. All currently operating MARTA cars operate in married pairs, where 2 cars are permanently coupled to each other, with each car in a pair only having some of the necessary components. However, when MARTA first opened, they also had 20 single cars that were built alongside the main order of married pairs. All the cars are known as the CQ310, with MARTA also operating CQ311 and CQ312 cars, and CQ400s entering service this June to replace them all. The married pairs were known as A and B cars, with 1A and 1B forming a married pair. The single cars were known as C cars. My best guess is that these cars provided greater operational flexibility, allowing MARTA to operate trains with odd numbers of cars. For whatever reason, the C cars were not refurbished alongside the A and B cars, and were therefore retired in 2006. They sat in storage until 2023, when MARTA began getting rid of them to make way for the new CQ400 cars. Due to not being refurbished, these cars are still in more or less original condition, with carpeted interiors and maps that still show the gold line as the yellow line. This name change was carried out in 2010 as a result of outcry from the Asian community in Doraville, which the gold line serves. Additionally, MARTA provided the Southeastern Railway Museum with an electrical hookup to power the lights and both a roll sign and dot matrix display, as both are used in the car's history as destination displays. These last few secrets are all intertwined as part of the story of what MARTA could have been if they got more funding. At the Harris Street or Northwest exit to Peachtree Center station, you can find a map of MARTA at the top of the escalators. This map shows proposed and under construction parts of the system circa somewhere between 1996 and 2000, given that Sandy Springs and North Springs are both listed as under construction. First of all, the map doesn't show the color line system currently in use, as that was introduced in 2009. Instead, it shows the north-south line in orange and the east-west line in blue. Some station names are different from their current names, most notably Hamilton E. Holmes, which is listed as Hightower on the map. Also note the station codes, which were still in widespread use at the time. You'll also notice 5 places: the Hapeville line, the Northwest line, the Tucker North DeKalb line, and extensions to the west and northeast lines, where the lines continue on without any stations. These are for proposed extensions to the system that ultimately didn't get funded. There's additionally a busway, what we would now call bus rapid transit, on the map heading south from Inman Park, Reynoldstown. The Hapeville line would have split off from the south line past East Point and ran to Hapeville. It was canceled when Clayton County didn't sign on to MARTA. The northeast line was supposed to be extended to Norcross, and the west line was supposed to be extended past Hamilton E. Holmes into DeKalb County, but the funding never materialized for these projects. The Proctor Creek line was supposed to run northwest up to Perry Homes, now West Highlands. This project was cut back, and the only part that was built was the spur from Ashby to Bankhead, served by the Green Line. This spur is the reason that the Green Line operates as 2-car trains, as Bankhead is only long enough for 2 cars, with provisions to extend the platform to take 4 cars. This is possibly because the line to Perry Homes was canceled, although I can't say for sure. The other 2 proposed lines have provisions built for them, and those are the last 2 secrets of MARTA. The first of these provisions is right after trains enter the north-south line's downtown tunnel heading south from Lindbergh Center. If you look out the right window in the direction of travel on either a northbound or southbound train, you will see a second tunnel branch off. This is called a bellmouth, and is the fancy name for a short section of tunnel that is built as a provision for future expansion. This line would have ran into Cobb County, but was ultimately canceled, probably because Cobb County did not sign on to MARTA. The last secret is just west of East Lake Station. If you ride a train between East Lake and Edgewood Candler Park and look out the left window in the direction of travel and look down, you'll see a trench. This is where the Tucker North DeKalb line would have split off from the East line. You can also see the trackway widen to make room for the 2 proposed tracks. If you want to get a closer look, get off a train at East Lake and exit via the north parking lot. Cross West Howard Avenue so you're on the south side of the street and head west. A little bit after crossing the railroad tracks, look to your left and you'll see the trench. This trench leads to about 300 to 400 feet of tunnel, which was built as the beginning of the Tucker North DeKalb line. This line was canceled because of a lack of funding and NIMBYs. As an honorable mention to close things out, I want to mention that at many points along the system, you can find orange strobe lights. These lights only come on when a train is nearby, presumably acting as a warning for any potential track workers. Back before MARTA had real-time train tracking, you could use the strobe lights along with the signal flashing green to know that a train was approaching the station. This really isn't a secret, as they are kind of obvious, and I also didn't have that much information on them, but I felt that the video would be incomplete if I didn't include them. As I was editing this video, I discovered another secret. At Avondale Yard, MARTA has a track connection to the National Rail Network, which most metro systems don't have. The only other one I know of for sure in the United States is the New York City subway. Those have been the secrets of MARTA. Thank you so much for watching, and if you know of any secrets that I missed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.